This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream. Refreshing wild cherry cola meets smooth cream. The treat you deserve. Pepsi Wild Cherry and Cream. Treat yourself.
Alright, what's up guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. And in today's episode, I probably am going to do a TikTok version of this just to kind of sum it up a little bit. But no, overall though, I wanted to explain why Arc Raiders then lost pretty much a good majority of their fan base, because when you look at this game now, the game, it's not, even back then, it was like when it like originally came out, it had a lot of people playing it. And currently right now, they have 157,000 players online. That's good. That's decent. And in the 24-hour peak, they had 162,000 players, but they had an all-time peak 4 months ago with 481,000 players. And at the time being, that's what it was. Like, that's how many players they had playing their game on a regular, was over 400,000 people. And I think even with that one game marathon, hold on for a second, let me bring that. Oh yeah, I forgot about High Guard. Are people still playing that game, or is it still playable? Hold on for a second. Only 400 people are playing that game, and they had 97,000 people playing it 2 months ago. That's crazy, the High Guard game. But even with the marathon, that game, it was, yeah, at one point they had like 80-some thousand people playing it on the regular. Now it's at 62,000, and currently right now they got 52,000 people. So my question is, I guess, you know, like to the, just anybody that feels that they have a legitimate answer and not no copy and paste answer. But why do you think 3 of the biggest games to come out this year, why do you think those games then lost their player base? And even one of the games shutting down before it even really got started. When you look at Arc Raiders, that being the first game to come out of the 3, when you look at that game, what new things have they added to the game to where I guess it can, you know, get people back in playing it? The only new things that they've added is a new weather conditions, which is hurricanes, and 2 new arcs. One that blows up a little bit more than the other arcs, and then one that's it's a drone arc that shoots fire at you. Other than that, there has been no new things that they have added to the game. If anything, they've been from what I heard, they've been nerfing some of the weapons that are in the game. So now it's even harder to kill some of the arcs and the people that exist within the game. Marathon, that game coming from one of the biggest video game developing companies out there, Bungie. And when you look at their track record with video games, where they did the Halo series originally, then they did Destiny 1. Because Destiny 2, I'm gonna give that game like one of those treatments where that game just doesn't even really exist. Where that game is at right now, it's like we could kind of see where Bungie was heading, because how is it that you guys went from Destiny 1, probably your best game that you released outside of Halo, and then you go to Destiny 2, and then you had a game there, but then you took it away, and then start charging people all this money for the DLCs. Then you come out with a video game that only has one mode, and that's the one thing that I pay attention to with games where they don't survive for a long period of time, because when you look at games where they do have a lot of content in there, Fortnite, I think they still be having, and they just recently announced that they were going to be the original mode that came out when with Fortnite, like the very first mode, which was like Save the World or something like that. They plan on releasing that for free. And so now they're giving people even more of a reason to play Fortnite. It's like, see the origins of Fortnite and stuff. But then, then with Grand Theft Auto, that game, hold on for a second. Let me just see how many people are playing Grand Theft Auto right now. So they got Enhance and Legacy. Let's just open up both. Fortnite, I think you gotta go to its own website to see what the player count is. And I'm trying to think of another game out there that got a lot of players. But those, in my opinion, those would be the two games where if I was getting into video game development, I want to make the next Grand Theft Auto and Fortnite. Because here it is. It's like Fortnite, that game came out, I think, in 2017. And when you looked at when that game very first came out, nobody was playing it. Pretty much like where High Guard is right now, that's where Fortnite was when it originally came out. Nobody was playing this game. I remember when I think Vanoss, he did a video where he played Fortnite when they very first came out. And nobody was fooling with it. Because it was like, okay, the concept of the game was a good idea. I did like Fortnite before it became a battle royale game and the game that it is today. So I didn't have no issues with it. I thought it was a decent game. It's just that, yeah, the game, it lacked players. And so that's why I was like, yeah, I think I did buy the game, but I didn't really fool with it that much. And then when they came out with the battle royale, that's when I was playing it. Now they got all these different modes that you could do in there, and I'm like, wow, Fortnite is just one big giant like sphere of just video games and stuff. Like it's like another Roblox or Gmod and stuff like that. So then Grand Theft Auto, they have the modded servers and stuff where it's like there's all these different things that you could do, and then there's also adding updates to the game where now you can have full-time jobs in there. You could be you can't be a paramedic. You could be a firefighter, you could be a delivery driver, a forklift driver. And what else? What are some of the... Yeah, and it was just like a bunch of different delivery missions and stuff. Pretty much all the new job missions that they have in there is just driving missions and things. So, but, and then you can deliver pizza and newspapers and things. So I was like, yeah, I'm like... And you know what's so funny is that it's like, fam, you do realize that it's like, I guess realistically, because I don't think I haven't seen a newspaper delivery person in years. Like it's been a while. I remember, I think the last time I see that, they were just driving up and down the streets in the van just throwing newspapers at houses, and it's like, bro, do you not realize we live in the technology times? Like, ain't nobody reading. I think they could have definitely added some other jobs in that game. But anyways, but yeah, it's like I think what they're doing is laying out the foundation of what GTA 6 is going to be. So, but my thing is this. You look at all of these games where they have, hold on for a second. Because I did bring that up, and I wanted to look at what their player count was. So, yeah, I guess like with Enhanced, well, no, that's Enhanced. What about, Legacy has a little bit more, but Enhanced has 34,000 people playing it. They had a 24-hour peak of 66,000 people playing it, and then they had an all-time peak 12 months ago with 187,000 players. And then with Grand Theft Auto 5 Legacy, and that's the thing too, where I'm like, I guess, just going based off of Steam, yeah, Arc Raiders does have GTA 5 beat, but when we're talking on Xbox, PlayStation, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's definitely going to be a thing where we're going to see a big giant number of how many people, especially if we're going all the way back to when the game had originally came out back on Xbox 360. So yeah, it's there, and that was when the game was just, it was just a story mode game, but still there are so many different things in there that you can do. So that's why I'm like, when I look at video games and you see when they're blowing up at one point in time and then out of nowhere they just die off, the reason why is because the game has no content. The only thing that they have you do, what trips me out is that when they do decide to add content into the game, they want to blend it all in rather than separating it. Why not have it where we can play the extraction shooter mode, but if we want to play the story, we could do that. And if there is any other modes that can be added into the game, then we'll cross that bridge when we need to. No, these developers nowadays, they only want to listen to the people, I guess, that put up the most amount of money with the game. Now, I ain't gonna say that that's the case with all developers, but I definitely feel like that's the case with Arc Raiders. They're all like, oh, let's check and see if we see this guy TMossBoss doing a video talking about us. Let's see what edition of the game does he have. If he has standard, we ain't listening to him. If he has deluxe and he done put all these hours into the game and that's the only game that he's playing, then we'll listen to him. And it's things like that where I'm like, and I feel like that's another thing too, the developers not listening to the fans, because it shouldn't matter at the end of the day how much money you put up for the game and stuff. If I'm playing your guys' game and I'm passing along ideas that can help improve your guys' game, What's wrong with that? And then to have it where it just the comments that I make, it gets drowned out by the people that just only want the game to be a one mode game. And I'm like, fam, that's not, I guarantee and I promise you, because that people were saying, I was just talking on this not too long ago. People were saying the same thing with survival games, where it's like, you look back then, DayZ was up on its game. H1Z1 was up on its game. H1Z1, I had to say that was probably the biggest survival game. DayZ still, they still be doing stuff and things, so I had to say, I guess that's good for them. But no, those were games where they, and it was funny because I was thinking that those games, they were in a way not really extraction shooters, but they played out like extraction shooters. Like, they had their whole system, find loot, get killed, lose all the loot, and that's the thing where I'm like, not everybody is going to be into that, and it shouldn't, when people say things like that, it shouldn't get, the response shouldn't be, oh, if you don't like it, then don't play it. Fam, I have no choice but to, it's the game is mine forever. I guess I could stop playing it, but at the same time, that's me not getting my money back. I want to be able to play a game that I can enjoy, and eventually it is going to get to a point in time where people are going to get tired. So at the end of the day, what do you think is going to happen first? Me discovering a new game, which I have no problem doing, or the developers add new content into the game? And it just seems like the route that we're going down, developers don't want to add new content to the game. They want to survive and milk the amount of just how much or however much money they can milk out of the game with whatever content that they have available. And then usually nowadays it's only one mode. And at least, and my thing is this, and what trips me out is that when you ask for other content, like for an example, when Arc Raiders came out, people were asking for a PvE mode, and that got drowned out because the diehard fans, they only want to have PvE, and it's like, okay, well, not everybody's gonna be into that. If I could develop a PvE mode and put it into Arc Raiders, oh, trust me, I would have did that day one of the game, even prior before if they had like a modded system for that game where you can mod game modes in there and stuff, that would have been the first thing that I would have did with Arc Raiders. And I probably would have had a little bit more hours into the game if it was set up that way. But no, they have it set up where it's just PvE. They don't want to add nothing else. They don't want to do anything else to the game. They don't want to add no single player content. They don't want to add no PvP content. They don't want to add nothing. They just want to have it where it's just an extraction shooter. They live off of that. And then most likely whatever next genre that blows up, that's what Bungie is going to. And you know what? I could definitely see them doing that. Let's say the racing genre that starts blowing up at some point in time. I'm willing to bet money it'll either be with Arc Raiders or it'll be with Destiny. They're gonna come out with a racing game. Let's say like Forza Horizon 6. That just paves the way for racing games. Like, that's like, oh, that's the racing game that like really puts racing games on the map to where we're now seeing it's like, let's say the game comes out and it gets 1 million people playing the game. Extraction shooters is going to die off. Any other genre is going to die off. Call of Duty is going to come out with a racing game. Battlefield is going to come out with a racing mode. What else? And then, Bungie is going to probably, that's, you know what, because they did actually have that in the first Destiny, Sparrow Racing. So, they'll probably have it where it's all like Destiny Racer or Racing or something like that, or they add the mode into Destiny 2, and then, then they're all like, oh, well, now let's live off of that and things, and we'll just have it where we just focus on that. And I'm like, man, it gets to a point where it's like, can companies just start being unique, start being different? You don't have to come out with an extraction shooter. You don't have to come out with whatever genre is going viral. Come out with the game that you want to come out with. But if that's the game that you want to come out with, you need to understand that at any given point in time, whether it's a game within the same genre or another video game outside that genre, it can kill off your game instantly. And when you look at video games like Fortnite and Grand Theft Auto, and those are games that came out years ago and they still getting played, especially Grand Theft Auto, that being a 13-year-old game, and it gets played more. Hold on for a second. Let's just see what so Grand Theft Auto combined, so 80,000 people playing both the legacy and the enhanced mode. Let's see what Red Dead Redemption 2 is at, because that's their newer game. So they got, wait a minute. So they got 20,000 people playing the game right now, and they had 32,000 people in a 24-hour peak, and 99,000 13 months ago. So actually, no, that wasn't when the game came out, 2019, because then I think that game came out in 2018, I believe. So, but no, it's like a game that is, in my opinion, more developed than Grand Theft Auto 5. Like, it was just a little bit more it was better when it came to the development and stuff. And you mean to tell me that Grand Theft Auto 5, a 13-year-old game that's been remastered a million different times, that game has more players than Red Dead Redemption 2? And that's the thing, when you notice the lack of development, and that's what the case was. Rockstar wasn't even fooling with that game. They released it and then they just left it at that. That's why Red Dead Redemption 2 is in the situation that it's in. And if my thing is this, if fans see that you guys are focused on that game, like rather than, oh, let's just focus on what makes us the most amount of money. No, focus on all areas of gaming. It ain't about the money. It ain't about none of that. So just focus on a video game, the newest game at that, and then Red Dead Redemption 2 probably would have had more players than Grand Theft Auto 5. But no, they're like, oh, we only want to focus on one thing and one thing only. And that, you know what, the thing is this, even though Grand Theft Auto 5, like, it's still playable till this day, people don't really be fooling with it like that no more. I guess a lot of people, I feel like, are waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6. But yeah, it gets to a point where it's like, okay, I played everything I need to play. I did everything I need to do. I guess if there is some new stuff that does get added into the game, then cool. But if not, what reasons do I have to sit around and play this game? So that's why I'm like, with Arc Raiders, it's like, looking at that game, and then people just want to, like, oh, I just want to repeat the same, copy and paste argument. And it's like, no, come up with something new. If you're going to argue with me, come up with something new. But if you're going to say the same thing somebody else said in their video or in their podcast episode or on social media, fam, I'm not hearing that. But anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, viewing this on the podcast streaming service. And peace.